Hi, Jodie. Hi, Cassidy. Can you guys hear me? How do I do this? Invite guest. Add stream. Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
We are live.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm not sure where Angeline is. Hang on. I'm so sorry. I've had problems with my laptop. It said that it couldn't find my camera or my mic, which is bizarre because I use it all the time for work, to do Zoom, everything else. And this is what I used last time to go on StreamYard. So I have no idea what's going wrong. And the camera's backwards on my phone. So when I move that way, I go the opposite way to where I think I'm going. So I had everything set up for me being on the laptop and using the phone for my notes. And now it's all gone a little bit higgledy-piggledy. So let me just get Facebook up because I was going to read about thing about. Oh, I'm feeling a bit flustered. I didn't want IT issues right at the very start. So let me get up there. So it is Indie Author Week UK. Hey, there's Angeline. Angeline, if you click the link that was sent to you in the Instagram group, that's the one that will bring you into the stream as a host instead of a guest. To the one that's in our just us three Instagram group. I think. Yeah, and so I click on there. All I can do is put. How do I join? Can I go invite a guest? Copy to group part. Right. I'll send you a message. Can't find the link. Okay. I'm just going to quickly. You'll probably see me sideways now as I try and send this over to Angeline. There we go.
It's modern technology.
Cool. I think I've just sent Angeline the link, so hopefully she'll be joining us now. And I've managed to get it up. Which way around do I do my camera? I don't like it on the mobile phone. I don't know about you guys, but it's just a bit more awkward. Everything's a bit smaller and not quite where I expect it to be. So, while we're waiting for Angeline to join, I've just sent her a link on Instagram, so hopefully she's now got it. She can't find the link. I don't know what's going on because it was in our group one, wasn't it? I've also sent her one privately, so I'm not purposely trying to leave Angeline out. And hopefully she'll find a way to get on here soon. Oh, I can see her guest. I don't know. Yeah, she's there. Hi, Angeline. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry about that. I couldn't find any link at all to join.
That's all right. I had my own issues as well. I got into the thing, and every time I've tried two different browsers on my laptop, and both were saying they couldn't find my mic on my camera. I was like, this is not how I want my live stream to start, with no mic or camera. So I'm now on my mobile phone, which is why it's a little bit small, and but we'll make it work because that's what us indies do, don't we? We overcome lots of different obstacles and problems every single day.
Absolutely.
So this live chat, for anyone that is coming along and watching it, is for Indie Author Week UK. So all of us here are indie authors, and to start off with, I'll just quickly introduce myself. I'm Annie Aldridge, and I write young adult contemporary fantasy. I've got my first book in my first series out, which is Ocean Heart. It came out in December, so I think I'm the newest indie author of the group today. And I'm going to get all of you guys to give a quick intro to what you write and who you are and how you got into being an indie author. And I'm going to start off with you, Angeline, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine. So how did I get into indie authoring? I started my publishing career writing short stories for horror anthologies put out by small independent presses. And I think it was about 2012, 2013, I suggested to the writing group I was a member of, I was like, why don't we do our own anthology and self-publish it? And they actually turned around and laughed at me because, self-publishing still had quite a bad rep back then. So I thought, do you know what? I'll show you. So 2015, I published my first novella. And I'm now working up towards, I think, the release of my 19th book.
Wow.
So I think I proved my point.
Excellent. That's really good. Thank you, Angeline. And next up, Cassidy, the next one to volunteer to take part in all of this with me. So if you'd like to do a little introduction.
I write romantic suspense. I've got 4 books out now, and I got into this through empty nest syndrome, where I had no kids around me really any longer, and I needed something to do. So I decided to do the scariest thing I could think of, and wrote a book. And I haven't stopped since.
I was going to say I'm on the opposite end, where I probably should have waited until I had empty nest, because it is really hard juggling it around kids, young children. Jodie, let's put you in the hot seat next. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so kind of publishing was sort of a dream from when I was younger. I always wanted to see my book on the shelves of like Waterstones and WH Smiths and things. But something I always wanted to do, but I took my time to do it. And then, as I said, I was originally looking for traditional publishing, and then ended up going down the indie route and haven't looked back really. So at the moment, we've got the first in my it's kind of like a multi-genre really. It's kind of contemporary fantasy, paranormal romance series out, and I've got one other sort of short story through Kindle Unlimited, which is more just like yeah, and I never know quite how to
thriller, isn't it? Well, not a thriller, but it's
maybe
very
like a
suspenseful.
Yeah.
It's good though. It is good.
It's very short, but it's pretty.
It's very good.
Yeah, and you were anticipating to be part of a series as well, aren't you?
Yeah, at the moment I'm going to gradually release sort of short stories individually, and then eventually I might do it as like a box set. To print.
Yeah, cool. I forgot to say why I got into indie. I was like Jodie, it was a dream for years. I wanted to be traditionally published, and like Angeline said, self-publishing had a bit of a bad reputation. It seemed to be people would put these messy books out that had been edited or formatted or anything, and I was like, no, that's not for me. I want my book to be professional. So it wasn't until like I got to know you guys like later on, and I realized like how great your books were, and I realized it is possible that you just have to hire people to help you with the different business aspects of it. So it's almost like you are the entire publisher, and you can do it properly. And I'm so proud of my book when it was finally made. It was a dream come true. It was exactly how I imagined it. And the scary thing is, I know now from talking to people who have been traditionally published, I probably wouldn't have got my book out the way it did come out, because they would have made all the decisions. They would have picked the cover, they would have picked the formatting, and they might have decided I wasn't even a big enough name to have nice, pretty formatting inside. But I decided that this is my baby, and it's having everything. It's having the, do the whole thing. Whatever my budget can do is having. So that is one of the great things about indie publishing. I was going to talk a bit about what Indie Author Week is about. So there's like an introduction on their Facebook page, and they're encouraging indie authors to get involved and do activities to celebrate the week. It starts from the second Saturday in June, right round to the third Saturday of June every year. This is actually the 4th year it's run, but I'd never heard of it before. And it's the sponsors behind it is Team Author UK, who are a type of indie publisher. So they support indie authors that want to get published, but it's different to vanity publishing, as in the indie authors keep their rights, whereas a lot of vanity publishers, they have control of your books. So it's a bit different. So they're the sponsors behind it, but they encourage everyone to get involved, whereas all of us guys, I think we've all done it all ourselves, haven't we? We were everything, every decision. Yeah, which is the fun. So that's a little bit about what it's all about. Their goals are 1, to raise the profile of indie authors, 2, to celebrate their work, and 3, encourage book sales and reviews. So I'm going to read some of the paragraphs and then have us break into discussions about what some of the things they've said. So they invite everyone to join the fund. So, founded by independent publisher Sue Miller from Team North UK in 2018, the annual event encourages bookshops, libraries, school community groups and businesses from all corners of the UK to get involved and help showcase their local author talent by hosting book signings, readings, author visits and other activities. So what I'm going to ask you guys is, what sort of events have you ever done in your local community? Do you have any advice or tips that you could share? You guys, I've done a book signing at my local bookshop during the pandemic, which was quite interesting because obviously people couldn't come to my book signing. So I did it online, got people to order the books and they all had to go and pick up at certain times to go collect their signed copy. And that's what I did. And I know you guys have been involved in events, even though you're being a bit quiet, because I remember like Jodie, you went to Indie Fire, and Angeline, weren't you behind booking and organising that?
Yeah. I really love doing live events. I do a lot at my local library. If you are an indie author and you're interested in doing live events, go and talk to your local library. They have been absolutely fantastic. Mine. So they organise local author days. I've been to them. I've done a few other stalls at places, and I actually organised a big event at my local library. I went over with an idea for a very small event with like 5 sci-fi fantasy authors, maybe, possibly, and I talked to the library manager and we both got all excited, and it turned into a massive sci-fi fantasy con. So we ran that in 2019 and again in 2020, just before the pandemic hit in February. And we're hoping to pick that up again afterwards. I've also done a lot of author events, so the audience is authors rather than readers, like workshops, speaking on panels, doing talks. Yeah, I love doing live events.
How did you approach your library? Because that's something I'd like to do, but I'm so scared. Like, did you just walk in?
Yes, I literally walked in and I said it was the scariest thing ever. It took me 3 days to pluck up the courage to do it. But I walked in and I just said, I'm a local indie author and I'd like to talk to somebody about maybe putting on some events. And they gave me the email address for the events manager at the library. Because the way in the UK, the way a lot of, I don't know if they're all like this, but a lot of libraries are funded by the footfall. So the more people come into the library, the more funding they get. And so they want events. They are generally desperate for events. So go pluck up the courage, go into your local library, introduce yourself and find out who you need to speak to about organising events, and you'll probably be very, very welcome there.
The end of June in Felixstowe, we have Felixstowe Book Festival, which is quite a big local event, and that's hosted by our local library, but I haven't had the guts to go and say maybe
do it.
Pants and get in there. How about you guys? Do you think you'd like to do a library event, or have you done anything like that?
Well, I was booked on a few.
I haven't done it.
And the pandemic hit.
Yeah, it has really sucked, hasn't it, the whole pandemic thing. I did get approached by a school to do a local high school to do a talk, but my employer didn't let me have the time off, so I couldn't go. And that's for Well Book Days. But I'm going to hopefully be more organised next year. Have Well Book Day already booked off work, and then like approach high schools. They'll take me a day off to do writing. That's my plan for 2022. I'm not going to be broken by no holiday. It was going to be okay, ready for the next one? I'm going to read the next paragraph. Are you ready? Okay, so it's also an opportunity for readers who have favourite indie authors to engage and promote during the week. Authors love it when readers leave a review on their website or online shopping platform, as well as sharing their reviews with online communities. It only takes a few minutes, but means the world to an indie author. Okay, what do you have to say about that? What do you feel about reviews? My cat was about to be sick right next to me when I like it.
Yeah, so reviews, I think it's a bit of a touchy subject, really, because reading them, you've got to remember that the reviews aren't necessarily for you; they're for other readers.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to read a nice positive one, and particularly when you've got one of those. I'm sure we've all had it where you've got one of those weeks and just everything you read, you think, oh, this is rubbish, it's trash, I hate it. And then you read a good review and you're like, oh, well, actually, my rating's maybe not that bad.
The thing about a review, and also hate at the same time, is when people say they can't wait till the next book. Because on one hand, I'm like, yes, they love it enough that they want the next book, I must write it. And at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, I must find the time to write this next book.
Yeah, it's very typical that we might ignore like 10 good reviews and just focus on the one bad one. But yeah, authors generally fall into two camps. There are those that love to read their reviews and there are those that don't read them at all. And I fall into the don't read them at all camp. Obviously, there are useful things that you can learn, like if the same issues are being brought up in reviews over and over again. So I employ my husband to read my reviews for me. And I say, if there's anything I need to know, tell me.
In a nice way.
Yeah, and it's much safer that way.
How about you, Cassidy? How do you feel about reviews?
I do read them, but I take a lot with a pinch of salt because I also write quite a lot of them. So I just think, it's so easy to sit and say, I didn't like this and I didn't like that. But you just can't take them too much to heart, unless obviously there are, as Angeline said, a lot of issues that keep on coming back. If it tells me I've got a lot of editing issues or grammar or anything like that, then I will look at it. But if they just didn't like the story, well,
you brought up a really good
point about it.
I was going to ask you, Cassidy, because a lot of writers are also readers as well. And you said about you write reviews. What sort of places do you post your reviews, and what sort of tips do you have for people that are thinking about writing reviews and aren't sure where to start?
One thing I try not to do is spoilers.
Yeah,
I hate spoilers. And I just try to be as constructive as possible. I mean, a review can be as easy as really like this book. I recommend it to anyone who likes this genre. It can be as simple as that. I try to put a little bit more into it. If I think the characters were really well developed, I will say so. If the settings are maybe not quite so immersive, then I will say so. But yeah, I do try to be constructive rather than just critiquing it.
Yeah, I find that writing reviews is actually really good for myself because it makes me think about the story I read and what I liked and what I didn't like. And also, I like Goodreads because it keeps track of what I have and haven't read yet. And otherwise, I would forget. My wish list is so long. I don't know if there's anybody who's wondering where you can post reviews. You can post them on your blog if you've got a blog, but there's also sites like Goodreads, Litsy, BookBub. You can even post it on your social media like Instagram, Facebook, a little short one on Twitter saying I love this, check it out. TikTok is very popular right now, but I've literally only just recently downloaded it and I can't get my head around it. I've uploaded about 4 videos, I think. I did promote this on there, but I don't know if I did it right.
You're ahead of me. I haven't dared TikTok yet.
It's scary, isn't it?
I'm not going there.
But I thought I better put it on
definitely.
there just because there seems to be a lot of book people on there and they might be interested in knowing what we get up to behind the scenes. Has anybody else got anything else they'd like to add about writing reviews that people might find interesting or how we feel about them? They are incredibly important. If anyone's thinking we don't want them, we do want them. Especially especially the 5-star ones. Just out there.
Yeah, I think it has changed the landscape a little bit now that Amazon have introduced that you can just rate something without leaving a review. Because I think, firstly, you get prompted by Amazon a lot to leave a star rating without an actual review. Sometimes I actually get a notification on my Alexa. Sorry if I've set anyone else's off. And it says, you recently bought this, would you like to rate it? And I can literally say a number of how many stars I want to rate it, which is great because the notification might come while I'm like doing the washing up or something. So I think that's going to increase the number of reviews that we start to, or at least the number of ratings that we see on our books, because people will, they'll click a button to leave a star rating and they don't have to bother typing anything. So I think people are going to be more keen to do that as opposed to like actually having to take the time to go to the right page to write an actual review. So I think it's a really good move. I've seen a lot of authors who aren't very happy about just the ratings without a review, but I think it's only going to, I think it's going to really increase the number of ratings that people opt to leave.
Yeah,
I'm a bit unsure on it really, because ratings are such a personal thing, and like if I've read something and I like it, I pretty much 5-star it because I read it.
Some people do a 3-star for something they really like, and you're just like, but why have you said I absolutely love this and given it 3 stars?
Yep.
Yeah, as I say, that's the thing. It's the consistency side of it. It's like some people will say, "Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Can't wait for the next one." As you say, you get like 3-star, and you're like, "Well, surely
something wasn't right." Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it was me, if I really enjoyed it, and I'm the next one, I'd do a 5-star.
And there are also some people I've seen, like in authors that have complained about some reviews they've got where they've got a 1-star and the person's complained, "Oh, I hate romance books," but it's obvious the book is advertised as a romance book, and they're like, "Well, why did you buy and review my book if you hate romance?" It's like they've purposely done it just so they could go 1 star.
Yeah, but I think it's just important if you do give a book 1 star to say why did you not like it, because what you say that you didn't like might be what somebody else absolutely loves,
and it might also help other people with deciding that book's right for them, because if they don't like that as well, then I know that means you missed the sale, but that would have been a sale of somebody who didn't like it anyway, so it's a good thing. See, even bad reviews good.
Yeah.
Help us find our happy readers. Okay, you ready for the next one? Okay, so taking part in podcasts, Facebook live readings, and online interviews or guest blogging are other popular elements of this week's activities. Creators have had to find new online ways of sharing with their audiences. So this is all about using different social media platforms to promote books and writing and yourself as an author. I know, Angeline, that you're a bit of an expert on podcasting. Am I okay to say?
I might know a thing or two about podcasting. Yeah, for anyone who's listening who doesn't know, I co-host the Unstoppable Authors podcast with Holly Line. We're just literally coming up to our 100th episode. We'll be recording number 99 this week, so the week after number 100. Which is crazy.
I must admit, audio isn't my thing, which is why I don't listen to audiobooks. I haven't listened to your podcast, but I have come in and seen some of your Facebook lives when you've done like you did a live writing sprint recently. That was fantastic. And on that, I remember NaNoWriMo week, Jodie and Cassidy both had a live event. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you were doing for World Indie Warriors?
Well, we did a weekly live on Instagram through the World Indie Warriors Instagram page, and each week we kind of themed it. So we had a special guest, and we had yourself on to discuss. You were there too to discuss indie publishing. We had Julia Scott to talk about formatting, Michelle Rabb to talk about marketing, and also sort of a few psychology bits as well. And my mind goes back to Cara.
Yes, talking about editing.
Talking
It's
about
always
it.
good to know that.
Yes. I think it was just before. So, but they were really sort of interesting. Lots of questions being thrown about, and they are on. We saved them on Instagram TV, so you can go back and rewatch them.
Yeah. And another live event that happened was Indie Fire. I'm sure you had something to do with that, Angeline, and I think Jodie did as well.
Yeah, that was me and Holly Line again. We put together Indie Fire, which was meant to be a live, real life event, but yeah, then the pandemic came, so we kept putting it back.
That's how tenacious you were that you managed to still make it happen, even with the pandemic. You just put it on.
Yeah, because we kept pushing it back, and it was like, this is never going to happen. So we decided to take it turn it into a virtual event, which I think it's really good. I think it's been great having all these virtual events because people can attend events on the other side of the world that they never would have been able to. And in their pajamas, there's no requirement to get dressed. Or if you're on camera, maybe, the top half only,
Yeah. And I did have the problem with, like, obviously having little kids and stuff. So one of the other things about Indie Fire was that I could watch them later in the day. So if I missed something, there was catch-ups. And I thought that was really good as well.
Yeah.
Because, Jodie, you had a little bit of imposter syndrome, didn't you? Because you went on a panel. I'm thinking at the right event, aren't I?
Yeah. Jodie was. I think you were on a couple of panels, weren't you, Jodie?
Yeah. Well, we did the live podcast. Oh, yeah,
that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Did the live podcast and the panel about. I want to say planning, but it's not planning, plotting. That's it.
Yeah.
Is it Holly doesn't like the word pantsing, does she?
Oh, no, neither of us like the word pantsing.
Yeah, developmentally. Is it developmental writer?
Discovery writer. Yeah.
But you were a little bit worried about going on there, weren't you, Jodie?
I like pantsing. I think it's a great word.
I think
it's because everybody else has got so many books out and stuff, and it's just me with my sort of one and my little short story, and I'm like, oh.
And I think that's something but Jodie, I think that's something a lot of authors all have to struggle with, especially at the start, because you've got to promote that very, very first book. I mean, you've got two, and you were still struggling with, like, am I eligible? Am I valid enough to be here? And if you don't get up and do it right at the very start, then you might as well not be valid to be there. But you went and did it, and I think that's one of the really brave things. And I think that's something that a lot of people starting out will be able to relate to, because it's really scary to say, yeah, I am a serious writer, but yet you're sitting next to these people with, like, how many books was it, Angeline?
Yeah, I think I've got 18 out now. I forget. See, that's the really good thing about having writers who are also at the beginning stages of their career alongside writers who have been doing it for a lot longer, because if people ask me about, like, putting my first novel out, there's not a lot I can tell you because I can't remember a lot of it. There are a lot of experiences that I can't remember. Plus, I put my first book out in 2015. I hand coded that ebook. It's totally different. It's such a different publishing world now than what it was even in 2015, because technology just moves so quickly. So actually, writers who are right at the beginning of their journey now have much better things to say to people who are just starting their journey than somebody like me does, because I can't remember, and also it was totally different when I started out. So yeah, having more experienced and newer authors alongside each other is actually the most perfect thing you can do when you have a discussion about indie publishing. So yeah, never feel imposter syndrome. about it because you actually have more to give to new writers than maybe I do in a lot of ways. So,
and you did bring up a really good point there, Angeline, about how fast things do change, because I published my book in only December of last year, so only 6 months old. That's just how old my book is, just 6 months old. And in that time, things have changed. Like today, it was yesterday on Facebook, someone said that you can personalize your Ingram Spark book. So somebody like won a competition and you wanted to send them a copy of your book and you want to say like sign it for them, you can do it through Ingram Sparks and have it delivered directly to them. And I was like, no, you can't. So I went on last night and I had a little investigation if I could do it, put a book in my basket, said I want to personalize it, created this new page to add in. I didn't actually order it, I was just playing around. I can do it. It's really, really easy. I was like, how did I not know this? And there's all this new stuff for libraries and everything. Things are changing like every single day. And like, I think it was Holly when I launched my book who told me I could also sell through Amazon on KDP, even though I wasn't a KDP select person, and I could also still sell through Ingram. And I hadn't known that. It took me about 6 months to really believe it. I was like, no, this can't be real. And I did finally do it. I think it was in May, put it on KDP as well. But it's just always changing. It's like every time you think you've got the rules, they do something new, because each aggregator, the people who print the books, all trying to compete with each other, aren't they? So they're always trying to find something new, something better. But that's great for us guys because we benefit from when they do something new and something better.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's the communities that we build that help support each other. Has anyone else got anything else to add? Has anyone done a Facebook live takeover or anything? I did do one with Sue for her Christmas thing where
I think I've done Facebook lives a couple of times, but so long ago. I don't know why. I find them scarier than any other.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not very comfortable with Facebook.
No, I don't really like Facebook either. Instagram is my preference. I did
Definitely.
do a Facebook takeover with Sue. It had like so many hours or something in the group where I could do it for Christmas. And I sort of scheduled, well, not scheduled, but I like created a few images in Canva, and I had a Word document with some different text. So I could post every hour, and I had like a timer going off so I wouldn't forget. And that was how I coped with my takeover. So there was something there and had something to forget or run out of ideas. But what about you, Jodie? You look like you wanted to add something. Have you done a takeover?
Yeah, I've done a couple of takeovers. I did the same one as well with Sue at Christmas. It was an advent calendar. I think I did that last year as well. I've done a couple of them. And we've got another one coming up as well. I think you're doing it.
Oh, the summer fair, the Indie Summer Fair at the end of July. I think it's the end of July and the first day of August. 31st July, 1st of August. Look out for that, people. Indie Summer Fair, Facebook.
Yeah.
No, we're scared of Facebook. I will be there.
And I think Cassidy's done a few Facebook takeovers as well.
Have you, Cassidy, done any takeovers? I think Cassidy keeps cutting out.
She's got a bit of a lag, I know that.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I've got about a 10-15 second lag with video and sound.
We'll make sure we go a little bit slower for you. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next paragraph, which was
I
okay.
think so I'll come back.
Yeah.
I'll log out and I'll
See you
come
in a
back
bit.
on my laptop.
See, at least people can see that we are genuinely live, that this isn't like pre-recorded and we're like cut only the best bits. Okay, so I'm going to read you a quote from one of the founders of Indie Author Week UK. So this is from Sue Miller. She says, We're very proud of our authors and believe they deserve opportunities to shout about their work. By facilitating this annual awareness campaign, we're providing independent authors UK-wide social media platforms to band together and share their work. This is strength in numbers. What do you think about what she says?
Yeah, I think one of the best things about the indie author community is the community. That's why, I mean, we're saying we like Instagram best. The indie author community on Instagram is just amazing and so supportive. But indie authors in general are just really, really generous with their advice, and you can just go and ask any question, and there's always somebody willing to take the time and effort to walk you through something that, you know, might be really simple to some people, but, you know, is beyond you and just confusing you. And yeah, the indie author community is so fantastic, and it is so great to have a really good network. And I think that's something that a lot of people look for when they become indie authors. And I think it's a lot of things that, you know, it's something that a lot of us manage to find. I've definitely got a really good support network, so that when I'm stuck or got imposter syndrome or anything like that, I've got people that I can talk to, and I've got people that can understand, which is really important.
Yeah, I think I was really lucky when I think it was Jodie got me into World Indie Warriors. I made a lot of my connections, but like you say, Instagram, I made a lot of connections through it as well. And it gave me that confidence, that little kick that I could do this, because they were like, when I had questions, there was somebody who knew the answer or had done it before, or could say this was my experience, and I could decide whether or not I wanted a similar experience, or like, is that the sort of thing I want or not. And it really helped me figure out if indie publishing was right for me or not, because they're so open. Everyone was so honest about even when things go wrong, like this was really not good. And you're like, thanks for warning me. I'll keep a lookout for that. How about you, Jodie?
Yeah, definitely. Like you both said, really, the whole indie community is just so, they're just there for each other, and I think that's where traditional publishing may start to have issues. I think they underestimate how powerful we can all be together.
It's like a movement, isn't it?
Yes. I think they are starting to feel the bite now of people are turning away from traditional publishing.
It has become cool to be that person that finds that breakout indie book, and because they're the discoverer rather than the literary agent. They could be the person that found it and told all their friends and all their bookstagrammers. And also, today I posted on Instagram a picture of a book that I got from Ellie Mitten. She wrote a middle grade book, and I loved her UA book that she'd done previously. I bought it for my son. And when I received the book in the post, she'd wrapped it in tissue paper. She'd done like this wax seal on it, that all this like confetti. I lost the confetti when my son opened it because it went like everywhere. But it was so exciting unwrapping it. You don't get that when you buy a traditional book from like the closest you can get is when you go to the bookshop and they put it in a nice bag. But it's only indie authors that will go to that. They'll throw in a bookmark, and they'll throw in a little postcard stickers. You don't know what you're going to get when you get a gift from an indie author, because they are that small business that's so pleased that you've made a purchase, and they cherish every fan.
I think Cassidy needs to let him back in.
Oh, sorry, Cassidy.
Thank you. That's so much better. I should have been on the laptop to start with.
We were just talking about your favourite topic, Cassidy. We were talking about the indie community and like that connection that we all have with each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because you're a bit of the welcome committee. You love people.
I don't know why that's happened. I don't really love people. No, I do, but
Of course you don't. You're a writer. We're all introverts. We want people to go away. Leave them alone.
That's a funny thing. I'm not actually an introvert. I kind of feel a bit outside of the club there because I'm not really that introverted.
That's why we throw you forwards, because we're like, go get them, Cassie.
Yeah,
We
and that's
go
what I
hide in
don't like.
the
I don't like that part. No, I mean, I must admit, I've sort of gotten to know people all over the world. I even met up when I was in Australia. When was that? Year before last, 2019, in Perth. I met up with an author there that I'd gotten to know. My son is going to Canada, hopefully, in September, and I gotten to know an author who lives just outside Montreal, where he's going to be. So I'm hoping to be able to see if we can get over there. Yeah, the indie community is fantastic. It really is.
It is, yeah. And so I'm going to read you out the comment from the other guy, who I think it might be a girl. I'm not sure. Jude could be a girl or a guy. I'm trying to think if I looked on the website if it was a girl. It was a girl, Jude. So Jude Lennon says, Indie Author Week is the perfect opportunity for indie authors and readers of indie authors to spread the word. Independent Bookshop Week follows straight after, so it's a wonderful opportunity for the cross promotion between authors and stockists. What do you think about that comment?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this indie bookshop week.
No.
I didn't.
I always follow that every year.
Ah.
I'm a big fan of indie bookshops.
Me too.
There was where I used to live in Devon. There was a bookshop that was privately owned, and the owners wanted to retire, but they didn't want to shut the bookshop, and they just couldn't sell the business. So in the end, a collective bought it, and it became a community bookshop, and they sold shares in it, and that was how they bought it. So I'm actually a shareholder in a community bookshop in Crediton in Devon. So yeah, I'm like, yay, indie bookshops, because I part own one.
Yeah, I mean,
a tiny part.
Can people buy books from your book, where your shared bookshop?
It's a proper bookshop. It's called the Bookery. It's in Crediton. It's on the high street, so it's a proper bookshop that you can go and visit, but you can also buy from them online as well.
Really cool. I love that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
I own like a screw, I think.
Better than nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I've looked at indie bookshops all around sort of South London and east and west of South London. There are independent bookstores, but they are not indie bookstores. And they all, everyone that I've found are very sort of snooty and only want, traditionally published books because they got to keep to certain styles. And there doesn't seem to be any bookshop that has got indie books, and it's a little bit more eclectic, which is very disappointing. But
that's my experience. Yeah, it's my experience of the independent bookshops as well, like up here.
Yeah.
Yes, there are independent bookshops, but they're not for indies.
No.
Yeah, I think it is starting to change. I am seeing more independent bookshops open up, but of course they're scattered across the country. You have to be lucky enough to be one near one. There is one that's opened a few towns away from me, so I haven't been to it yet, but it's actually run by an independent publisher. So they're very, very pro indie and very pro small business. And again, I'd say it's very much like approaching your library. Just go in and ask. And yes, unfortunately, you might get a bit of a snooty response. And I've heard a lot of stories of authors getting that snooty response. But, pick yourself back up. The worst that somebody can say to you is no. So,
better than
give it a try.
Definite no.
Yeah.
That's what I always have to tell myself when I am chickening out and thinking I don't want to go, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, but if I don't do it, then it's a definite no, because I haven't even put myself out there.
And it might take you a few days to work up to it. I know I do. It takes me like 3 days. I have to like prepare myself, and then and then I'll just go, right, I'm doing it today, and I just walk there and I don't give myself the opportunity to wimp out. But honestly, like, I've had so many good experiences and so many great opportunities have come my way because I have just gone and asked and just plucked up the courage. And it is scary. It's scary every time. It's still scary, but
I think I found it even scarier because because they write romantic suspense and it's fairly steamy. It's a little bit, you get such looks from people when they ask you what it's about, and it's, you know, a lot of people call it soft porn and all sorts of things. So it's hard to approach people when that is what you write, because it is seen as very lowbrow, if you want, compared to something like fantasy, for example, which is seen as probably due to you know, Lord of the Rings and all of that. It's seen as something so much better, whereas romance is, yeah, okay, you can just go in your corner and
Cassidy, I've had a lot of people like talk to me like I must be like Away with the Fairies or something to written fantasy. Like, it's not a serious enough book. Like, it's not crime. It's not.
Yeah, speculative
mystery.
fiction is sneered at a lot. So fantasy, sci-fi, and horror is sneered at a lot, especially if you're a woman writing in those genres. But yeah, the romance writers are thought of as sort of like the bottom of the literary pile, and it's so wrong and it's so unfair. And actually, you guys have got the biggest market. You know, the biggest market is in romance.
I must like,
big
how can I
book
try and sell
market.
my book as a romance? Because that's what everyone seems to be asking for.
Yeah. But you also, yes, you've got a heck of a lot of competition in romance, but you've also got what's known as the whale readers, the people who are reading like 4 books a day. They're nearly
Hungry.
that's there you go. That sort of level of readers, most of them are reading romance. So it's a fantastic genre to get into it, and it's so wrong that there is this snobbery level of genres, but it's so wrong that everyone really looks down on the romance writers. And I hope that you guys are all just sitting back laughing and going, yeah, we've got the biggest market. I really hope you are.
I'm kind of, you know what, this is what I like, and if you don't like it, just go somewhere else. And if you look at that, even in Lord of the Rings, which is such a huge story, there is so much romance in it.
Yeah.
So why do they sneer at it? Why is it looked down on? In Game of Thrones,
there's incest in there.
Yeah, there's a lot in there.
But it's like, if most people, like particularly like fantasy and things like that, you know, people are describing a landscape and things. There's so many words you can use, and I think like the romance writer is so talented and so great with words to just be able to get in that situation. And you know, there's only so many words designed for body parts. And
yes, you have got to be very inventive. That's for sure.
You know, like I can sit down and write an action scene, no problem. Give me, you know, more of a naughty scene, and I could be there for 3 days, like agonising over every single word.
I'm exactly. I can't write romance at all, so I have big respect for romance with authors, because now I'm hopeless.
Yeah, no, I can do the romance. I can do all the heart-wrenching, tear-jerking, and all of that. As Jodie knows, I sometimes, you know, put some snippets in our little chat group, and have both her and Cara go, "What are you doing to your characters?"
And she says she's not a torture queen.
No, not really, because I always give them a happy ending. So, whereas others leave these cliffhangers all the time. I must admit, I was reading a book actually only the other day, which is a romantic suspense, and it was really good. It was well written, the characters were great, the story was good, it was punchy and kept pace the whole way through until the very end. And I was like, hang on a minute, we kind of finished there, surely. Yeah, it just kind of finished with such a boring, bland ending. I was furious. I thought surely they could have come up with something a little bit better. And it actually said by the author at the end that the story kind of continues in another 3 or 4 books, but they're all about the other characters within this group. And I thought, well, that's no good, because you want to know exactly what happened to this couple. And then she added, I think
recently called five star power endings, I think it was called. I won a place on it through Instagram, definitely into competitions on Instagram, and it was a really good course. And one of the things she did say is about how important the ending is. I always struggle with endings. I hate like wrapping things up.
Same.
Like 1 month to write 90% of the book, 4 months writing just the ending. That's a word. But she was saying about how important it is to make sure that you deliver on the promise that you've made the reader from the very beginning. So if you've read that book all the way through, following this couple's romantic relationship, waiting to get together, and then you get to the end and they're not even together.
Oh no, they were.
Then you get left at the end.
Yeah, no, they were. There was just a lot of sort of outside complications for the female main character that were not resolved. Basically, he was trying to keep her safe, and he'd not gone that final step. But I think this was also one of the books that had an update to it. So the author had now added a novella that was set a couple of years or so later that did tie that whole thing together. But it also kind of told about little bits about the other couples that are in the other books that I haven't read, and I don't want to know that yet. So, you know, I just thought, why couldn't you just put that final bit into the end of the book, and it would have been perfect.
In chapter, yeah,
but no. So that really annoyed me.
Yeah, it would have annoyed me too.
I don't often get annoyed with books, but that one annoyed me.
I think I've only ever had one book one series that I read where I was really disappointed with the end. Felt really let down. You know, when you're building up to what you think is going to be the end, and then
it doesn't
happen. It happens, and you just sat there like, what just happened?
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about it.
That was me the other day. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't like it when people do that to me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of cliffhangers, because usually it takes so long to read a book that I don't want to cliffhanger, because I need it nicely tidied up before I go on to the next book, because it might take a few months before I get to it.
Hey, you don't want to read my next one then, Ali, because that's going to have a cliffhanger.
Which series is that?
The Sentinels.
The Sentinels, okay.
Yeah, because the script is so big, you have to split it in 2.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying about that, but I don't mind that, because that's honest right from the start, isn't it? That it's you need these both parts, like a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So is this number 3? Because I've got Saving Her and I've got Saving Him on my Kindle.
No, you've missed Saving Lives. That's the one that came out in April. So you got a third one. Come on, Ali, get with the program.
I downloaded them and I just haven't had time to read them yet. So they're sitting there. I've got so many books on my Kindle, Cassidy.
Honestly, Ali, I've read your book. It was very disappointing.
I don't have any more space in my bookshelf to the extent that that's to be added to my to be read pile.
Yeah, that's what my house looks like. I've got these random piles of books everywhere. Loads and loads of books that are at different stages of being read.
Yeah, I do that as well. I've got lots of spaces for books, because my 2-year-old's going through that stage where she pulls everything off the shelves and tears them up. Everything's hidden upstairs in my room, because always she does destroy it. But that makes it difficult for me to read stuff, because I have to make sure that the book is not accessible to it, and I can't. Oh, it is really difficult. But when she gets a bit older, I've got so many shelves. I've got space to put things on, as long as my husband doesn't start filling them up with other stuff first. So
all of mine is on my Kindle. I've got about 400 books that I haven't read on my Kindle.
Oh no. One thing I do like about Kindle, and like about Apple Books, that I've not really read on Google Play much yet, but the way they give you stats on your reading, I find it really interesting. And Goodreads at the end of the year, when it tells you about your reading stats, this was your longest book and this was your short. I love that stuff. That's another
Yeah,
why you
I
should
don't-
write reviews.
I don't tend to put it onto Goodreads, but I did take a look on my iPad on the Kindle app, and it came up with I have read 607 days in a row,
Wow, that's good.
152 weeks.
Today I opened my Kindle and it said to me I was about to break my reading goal. I don't know what my reading goal is, like 3 days, but I was it's like, wow, I must be on a good reading streak. You're gonna break your reading streak. I was like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how long this goes back to, but it's probably right, because I do read every single day because I have to.
That's good.
Um,
Good habit.
yeah, no, I mean, I have to kind of read before I go to sleep because it'll take me 20 minutes to fall asleep otherwise. And if I read, it'll take me 2 seconds.
I like to read before I go to sleep, but sometimes I just don't have the time. And I also get in these like habits of where if I'm writing or I'm reading, I find it hard. My brain's in different places, and if I'm on a writing, sometimes I'm writing, and I'm in the zone, and Robert's like, Ali, you need to come to bed now. When that happens, I have to go to bed, and I don't have the time to read. So unless I remember to stop writing, to go and read, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, I sometimes only read a few, like a couple of minutes. It's as if there's a switch being flipped. It's, I'm reading in bed, right, it's time to go to sleep. So,
I still mine in the morning.
In the mornings.
Yeah, so I get up normally about an hour before I get my daughter up, and I'll have a coffee, sit down, read for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's a nice start to the day.
It's the only way I'll get through all of them.
Okay. Right, to end the live stream, I'm going to ask you all, where's the weirdest place you've ever written or read?
Oh, goodness.
Oh.
I don't know.
I haven't got a prepared answer for this. I don't know what my answer is.
Mine's gonna sound really, really dodgy, but let me explain. So probably the weirdest place I've ever written anything is in a prison. And that's because I worked in a prison for several years. And when like you're at work and inevitably you get really good book ideas.
Yes, imagine.
So yeah, I had an emergency notebook in my desk drawer. So, and sometimes I wrote at lunch times. So that's probably the weirdest place I've ever written.
Yeah. Have you guys got anything to add?
I don't think it's very weird, but I have an emergency notebook as well in my handbag, and I've sat in the doctor's surgery and in hospital, but it's not that weird because
yeah, I've written at toddler groups and soft play centre.
Yeah.
A soft play centre is a weirdly good place to write.
Good idea. I can't stop.
Bathroom floor when the little one's having a bath. That's another good one. I think probably, I don't know, maybe the middle of the field or something.
Oh, that sounds quite nice.
When I go
it does sound nice.
Yeah, I did sit when I was back home in Sweden. I did sit at the top of the road overlooking the water. It's not strange, it was just amazing to sit there because it's quite high up and you look out over the water and the islands. And I did sit there and write, and I hope to go back and do that sometime soon again. Fingers crossed.
I've never really written anywhere really weird. I've obviously taken like notebooks with me on holiday, so I've written in different countries and stuff. But the thing that my mum used to get really, really cross with me about when I was younger, when I was writing, was I used to often write when I was in bed. And the reason this used to wind her up was because she would have all my sheets would get covered in ink stains. Because the pens would I'd fall asleep writing and then like the pen would leak inside the bed. Only biros, but yeah, biros leak.
Yeah.
So that's my weirdest place. So I want to thank you guys so much for coming on this live stream. I hope you've enjoyed it and supporting Indie Author Week UK. And if there's, I can't see if anyone is live and has posted any comments, because the only comments I can see are Angeline's. So I don't know where the comments have gone, if people have posted them. If you have posted comments, I'm really sorry if I've missed them. I will check on YouTube afterwards and reply if I see any. But I just want to say thanks to everyone who has come, and thanks to you guys for taking part.
No, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.